How goes it, everyone? Corey James here, and today I want to talk about the ancient Sumerians. More specifically, who they were and where they came from, because here's the thing. This is the cradle of civilization, where it all began for you, me, and the 7.8 billion other people walking this planet. Yet despite their numerous innovations and accomplishments, to this day, scholars still have no idea where these people came from or how out of nowhere, out of freaking nowhere, they were not only able to construct humanity's first known civilization, but a fully functioning, highly advanced one at that. But I think I do, and I think I can prove it. Let's get to it. Ancient Mesopotamia, the land between two rivers, the cradle of civilization, and home of, well, everything. Writing, the wheel, agriculture and irrigation, astronomy, government, architecture, metallurgy, taxes, schools, laws, advanced mathematics. Even our concept of time originated here with the innovation of a base 60 system, creating a 60-second minute, a 60-minute hour, and a 360-degree circle, which led to dividing a year into 12 months and a week into 7 days. And here's the thing, all of this just appeared out of nowhere. No gradual progression, no precursor, nothing that could explain how this was possible. But what if we're looking at this the wrong way? Because here's the thing, a civilization like this doesn't just appear overnight. So instead of looking at this as something new, let's view this as something old rebuilding. Let's take a look at this intriguing connection I found between a 4,000-year-old Sumerian clay tablet and one of the most well-known stories in history, Noah's Ark. Now stick with me here. First things first, not that connection. There's another epic that mirrors the tale of Noah's Ark found on an ancient Sumerian tablet, the Epic of Ziusudra, which dates back to around 1700 BC, 400 years older than the story of Utnapishtim, which is found on a Babylonian tablet dated to around 1300 BC. But who is Ziusudra? Well, and hear me out on this, he's Noah. According to the Old Testament, Noah lived after the flood 350 years, and all the days of Noah were 950 years, and he died. According to the Sumerian Kings list, Ziusudra, which translates to life of long days, ruled for 10 Sars, or 3,600 years. Noah was the great-grandson of Enoch, who was the 7th from Adam, and lived 365 years before he walked with God, and he was no more. For God took him, which most scholars will agree translates to Enoch entering heaven alive. Ziusudra was the grandson of Imadarenki, who was the 7th of the great kings of Sumer, and ruled for 21,000 years, before the gods Shamash and Adad took him to heaven alive. However, the story of Imadarenki continues with him returning to earth and passing the knowledge of the heavens down to his son. But what happened to Enoch? The book of Genesis doesn't elaborate, but another book does, the Book of Enoch. Now, here's the thing about the Book of Enoch. It is insanely detailed and describes some otherworldly shit, which is why the Council of Laodicea removed it from the Bible in 364 AD. However, up until that point, it was a part of the original Old Testament. In addition, when they discovered the Dead Sea Scrolls in the 1940s, they found 11 different, well-preserved copies of the Book of Enoch. So clearly, it was important. That being said, not gonna dive into that mystery on this one. Rather, just gonna skip to the punchline. And those 7 holy ones brought me and placed me on the earth before the door of my house, and said to me, declare everything to thy son Methuselah. Hey, speaking of the holy ones, who are they? The first mention of them comes from the book of Genesis, where they are referred to as the sons of God. Or another way we could put that would be princely offspring, which in the ancient Sumerian language translates to Anunnaki, which, coincidentally enough, is exactly what the Sumerians call their gods. And, according to the legend, the Anunnaki watched over earth and decreed the fates of man, which sounds a lot like an angel, who, according to the Old Testament, were the messengers of God who watched over man. And, like the Anunnaki, who were the princely offspring of the sky god An, these angels, or sons of God, lived among man, and according to the book of Genesis, got a little too frisky with the human ladies. Now, We know for a fact that whoever wrote the Old Testament, more specifically the book of Genesis, knew of the ancient Mesopotamian people and their land, mentioning several locations throughout the book. However, they don't seem to mention Sumer. However, they do mention the land in which all of these cities reside, the land of Shinar, or in Hebrew, Sinar, which translates to land of civilized kings, which comes from the Akkadian, who, according to the scholars, conquered the Sumerians under the rule of Sargon of Akkad, or Sargon the Great, who was considered to be the first ruler of the first major empire. Hey, speaking of Sargon, he has a birth legend that states he was the son of a high priestess who conceived and bore him in secret, then placed him in a basket and cast him into the rivers, where he was found and raised by another family until he became a man and exercised his kingship. Sound familiar? Now, the book of Genesis states that Noah's Ark came to rest at the top of Mount Ararat, and coincidentally enough, many claim that such an ark has been discovered at that exact location both by satellite and a group of curious scientists who ventured to said location. And said location is very close to another location, a location that is actually rewriting human history, Göbekli Tepe, a massive ancient complex that dates back to 10,000 BC. And what I find super intriguing about this site, other than its general existence, is that many of these T-shaped pillars have depictions of animals, and only animals, set for one human-like figure, that of which we can only see half of. However, that half does seem to resemble an artifact found near Göbekli Tepe, the Urfa Man. So at this point, I know many of you are asking the question, Corey, are you saying that the ancient myths of gods, giants, and fantastic beasts are true? Well, yeah, I am. Because here's the thing. We're talking about some of our first known human civilizations that existed 4,000, 5,000, even 6,000 years ago. How could we possibly assume they understood the concept of symbolism or what a myth was? These are modern day terms invented in the 19th century as a way for the scholars to explain the unexplainable, because to them, gods and the paranormal do not exist. Me, on the other hand, I just look at it from a logical point of view and I ask myself, why would they lie? And even if they did, how is it that every ancient civilization told the exact same lie? Now, you can interpret all of this however you feel best, but for me, both the Eridu Genesis and the Old Testament, along with these recent discoveries, confirm that there once existed a pre-human civilization, one in which angelic beings walked with men and bestowed upon them incredible knowledge, years of life, and the secrets of the heavens. However, due to some wicked shit and getting a little too frisky with the ladies, that civilization was destroyed, said for one, the last of the great Sumerian kings, who brought with him the knowledge and technology of his land and time, explaining how the Sumerians, without any signs of gradual progression, became the first human civilization, responsible for basically every modern day institution and technology we have today. But hey, that's just my opinion. I could be wrong. I've been wrong before. What do you think?